Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV. We're here for a special episode, right? Special show because we've got Villareal versus Arsenal in the UEFA Europa League semi-finals, and obviously we are facing our old manager, our ex-manager, Unai Emery himself. Right? Good evening is coming back to the Emirates from the second leg, not the first, but obviously, there have been always the comparisons since Arteta has taken over. There's always been these comparisons where who's better, Arteta or Emery? Arteta or Emery, right? And we are here to do a special debate amongst Arsenal fans. But also rival fans can join in the chat and leave their comments in below. Please, please, please do smash the like button. Do hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that subscribe button right now, right? I want you to share the stream. Share on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, share it, right? Just gonna, just give us 2 secs and then I'm gonna be straight on. Just gonna let some people know that I'm live. Sorry, if you can, no, live. Yep. Right, so just letting certain people know that we're live at the minute. So hopefully get Flawless on, gonna get Saeed on. But on the post is coming, he is just coming. And as we see that, Man City score! Man City score in the Carabao Cup final with 10 minutes to go. Wow. Obviously, fans are allowed back in the stadium for the first time. Only on one half of the pitch. I don't know why. Why didn't they spread them out even further across the stadium? I don't know. They've only kept them on one side of the stadium, and they look a bit more congested on the Man City side, which is weird. I don't know why they've done that. I think they should have just spread them out even more. But either way, it's a ball in from a free kick, and it's number 14, Laporte. It's Laporte, right? The guy who's been injured most of the season and people think he's not that good has put Man City in front with 8 minutes to go. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So yeah. Right, but yeah, I'm going to give my own personal opinion first, as we see a substitution by Fernandinho for Rodri. Right, 7 minutes on the clock, but whilst Højbjerg comes off for Dele Alli. Right, so can Tottenham get back in this game, or is that game over? Is that game over? So yeah, come on, guys. Honestly. I'm just going to quickly share this on Twitter. Share the stream. Oh, it looks like a good score again here, but Tottenham are just, I mean, they've been battered all game. Yeah, running out of time now. Right, so here we go. Just gonna get through some of these comments. Yes, I know who I'd go for. Hardcode FC. If you can go, if you do go to the next protest on the 2nd of May, DM me and we'll see if we can get you on a live stream. We'll do a live sort of stream. But DM me now and I can get you on for this debate. You can come on for this debate as an Arsenal fan. Big up, Stephen. Love you, buddy. Sorry I've been missing. Chaotic times. Unai is better than Arteta at winning the Europa League with Spanish sides and impersonating Dracula. Other than that, Arteta is the better. No. Low it. How is he a better manager? What's he done? Like, share, subscribe, everybody. Rawest, realist, and best intentioned channel out there. Yes, mate. Yes, it is. Right. Sorry I couldn't join the stream as the internet was shit in the protest. If you do manage to get good internet, please join again. Big up everyone, Melina. Miss Mel, right? I hope. Yeah, I'll give you a call this evening, right? And we'll make sure it's. I think you got some news that you were mentioning in a chat. So yeah, yeah, I'll call you. I'll call you privately on Instagram later. Actually, do you know what? You got my phone number. You got my phone number, so you can call me on WhatsApp or something. Judge the Dreadlaw. I've just sent you the link, mate. I've just sent you the link. Same as Charlie Millen. I've just sent you the link. Right. Yeah. Hope you're well. Praying for your dad. Yes. My love and support goes out to Mel at this time, as well as everyone on this. Yes. Mel, talk. Big up, Your Majesties. Right. Marley man, get on here, right? Where are you? Let's be having you. Right? I can't start this debate without with someone else on the opinion. Right? Thank you, Stephen. You're an absolute legend. No. Right? You help me so much and I'm helping you. I'm scared about the semi-finals as I can't sleep. Stephen, I can't sleep either, but it's not because of the semi-finals, mate. I've grown to accept it as an Arsenal fan that we fuck it up. Right, right. I'm starting to think, is this team got the same mentality as Tottenham? But there you go. Yeah, I have just. If you could share that tweet I've just put out. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right. I'm going to start. Right, guys. Do you think we will lose the Year Cup if we lose the Europa League? that Arteta will finally go. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I know the board are not like that. They'll go, oh well, but he got to 10th from a tricky situation in 16th, so we'll keep him. Right? I mean, I still got that managers list. I really want to do that again. Right? We're thinking about doing a fundraising quiz, right, to help raise some money for Children's Liver Disease as usual. I'm going to be promoting that soon. I'm going to probably do that 3 weeks' time or something. And then we'll do that on a Sunday evening or something, get people involved and everything. We have Beyond the Posts. How are you, my friend?
I finally made it for the debate. I got the timing wrong, actually. I thought I was so sleepy yesterday and I have slept for like 3.5 hours only. So I thought that yesterday when you were telling me about it, I thought the debate was shifted to Monday. So I was thinking that the debate is happening tomorrow.
Nah,
And then when we chatted,
got the Premier League journey review, mate. So if you can make it for that, mate, that'd be really, really helpful. But yeah, we'll start this debate off, obviously, because I'm definitely Arteta out. You're definitely Arteta in. I think Emery's better. You think he ain't. Right, so we'll get into it. So, where should we start? Where should we start with this? The start of their careers at Arsenal?
Before that, I just want to say one thing. Even when Emery was the Arsenal manager, I did not want him to get sacked. I wanted him to get till the end of that season in which he was sacked. That is last season. I wanted to see where he would finish at the end of the season. Would he be able to turn things around? Because when he got sacked, we were not knocked out of the Europa League. We were still in the Europa League, and we were in 14th place in the league. But I feel that even Unai Emery's target was to win the Europa League to get us into the Champions League, which he thought was the ideal solution, which I feel even Arteta does think that. And so I wasn't really Emery out either. And there were a lot of fans right now who are Arteta out, and they use Emery as a comparison tool. They were done with Emery as well. They were like, get rid of Emery. He's no good. We need to get rid of him. But now, because they feel that Arteta's results are equally bad or worse, they say that, oh, Emery was better than Arteta. So I'll just make it clear that I would have backed either one, whoever was the manager. Whether it was Emery back then, I wanted him to at least have till the end of the season and to prove a point, because in the first season he made it to the Europa League final. Whether he could do something like that in the second season and probably win it, I wanted to see. But I think he went too early. And with Arteta as well, I want to give him more time, because I want to see what he can do at the end of this season when he has some funds and a lot of players deadwood gone, and we have to reshape the squad. So I want to see what he does at the end, what he does going into next season, and then I can say that for sure Arteta is not the man if he can't do it. If he can, then I think a lot of Arteta in fans may also change their stance, or sorry, Arteta out fans may also change their stance if he delivers.
If he delivers, I mean, obviously, as well as I did, I wasn't like sort of League Gunner in a sense where, I don't want him. I'm not supporting him from the start. It was like, that's not the manager I want, but I can't moan about it anyway. We ain't going to change it, and we'll just have to see how we go. And then I thought the way we were playing, any bloody manager was better, because some of the decisions Emery was making at the very end of his career at Arsenal, like even against Frankfurt, I've never seen the Emirates that empty. I mean, and it was also just, Man City needed to score again, but it was offside. But I also saw with Emery, it's just, he was, playing Torreira as an attacking midfielder and decisions like that. You were just like, are you trying to get sacked? That's those last few games that I saw. But the first season, I wasn't expecting to be. Man City have just won it, so bye bye Tottenham. But yeah, when I first saw Emery in his first season, we went on that massive run, and we were loving life on that. unbeaten one. We were playing good football. Right, we were all right, not as structurally, defensively, maybe not defensively is better, but the thing was we were creating chances and scoring goals. And the next season, I mean, the fact he managed to get to the Champions, I mean, would you agree that Arteta has a better squad than Emery did in his first season, in his full
No,
season?
I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, but that I feel he did, and he managed to place like Jenkinson at times and that in the Europa League, but he managed to get that squad to a Europa League final, and getting all right. We should have had third. We should have got third in the league. He bottled the league, but we got to our first European final in about 20 odd goddamn years, and part of me was like, I blamed Arteta, I blamed Emery in a bit for what happened in the final, but a lot of that was the players' attitude from what I saw. So I was willing to keep going with him for another season. It wasn't until I saw Crystal Palace, the Crystal Palace game, you could see he had lost the dressing room and had no control and was making stupid decisions. So at that point, I was like, nah, he's got to go now. He's got to go. And yeah, and like I said, I was giving Arteta the chance. If you saw my interview after with AFTV after the final, I was like, yeah, you just got to back him now. You got to give him the money. You got to back him and see if he's going to do anything. But maybe he didn't get enough backing as much as we should have done. But again, it comes down to managing what you've got. And for me, Arteta is not being able to, in his first full season, being able to manage the best team that he's got and get the best out of it. And I feel Emery in if we're comparing the two full seasons, Emery's managed to get more out of the squad than what Arteta's doing at the minute. So that's why I feel Emery's always been a better manager. Plus, not to mention, he's had that CV of 3 Europa Leagues, a Liga Un. I know Liga Un's like a farmers league, and he should be winning that hands down. But he's got that experience as well, and this is why when you come to a Europa League semi-final now, I am nervous as hell because A, he knows how we play, he knows those players, and B, he's a when it comes to Europa League, he's like he's undefeatable. He's a specialist. He's done it with Seville 3 times in a row. He's now doing it with Villareal, getting them to a semi-final with a team that's not even that good. But yeah, for me, that's why I've always counted him as a better manager, in my opinion.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say one thing. Whether Unai Emery beats Arteta or Arteta beats Emery, it doesn't actually decide who's the better manager based on those 2 legs. That is one thing that we know as well. Even though we will say at the end that Emery beat him or Arteta beat him, it doesn't actually say exactly that whether who is the better manager. The other thing now is, with respect to Emery always played according to the opposition, which is not easy as well. But he never had his own tactic or strategy. Pragmatic football, that is what he was doing all the time. He was always changing the formations and tactics according to the opposition. The reason Arteta has been brought in, and they wanted to bring Arteta even when Wenger was sacked. He said that I was not ready or whatever you want to go. I don't want to get into it. The reason they got Arteta is because they knew that he would be playing a certain style of football, a fixed kind of attacking football, which Emery can't, and no defensive manager can play. And the thing is that Arsenal, because of what has happened with Wenger and the influence of Wenger, always wanted an attack-minded manager. They were never going to stick with a defensive kind of manager for too long. When they got an Emery, we know that Emery came in like he was not even in the top 5. He came in because of the presentation that he made and he gave to the board. You need to understand, people say that Arteta is a yes man, but Unai Emery made certain requests or demands, you can say, and eventually when he was not given those, he still decided to stick around. So if Arteta is a yes man, first of all, Emery is a bigger yes man than Arteta, because he was in a country, he was in a different country where he did not understand a lot of things, and despite making a lot of demands as per him, he still stuck around and he didn't complain about anything. When Arteta wasn't getting transfers done, Arteta came out and said in a press conference, I hope that the board backs me now that I've delivered the FA Cup. That was after the FA Cup win. When people asked him, do you think that the board is going to back you and you are going to sign players? The other thing that I want to say, Arteta always was going to play a 4-3-3 and an attacking style of play. The only reason he played a 3-4-3 last season was because he was just trying to win that cup. Now, would you want a cup manager that
Would you also say though he didn't have the
yeah,
players?
he didn't. He didn't. Obviously, he didn't, and he wanted to win that cup as well and try to win that cup, which he did. But tell me one thing: would you want a long-term cup manager at your club, which I do not deny Unai Emery is, or would you want a manager with an attacking style who can win more than just the cup? Because the club that is either even if you don't like them, Vinay, Edu, even the Kroenkes feel that if you want to win this league, you have to have an attacking style, which Man City, Liverpool, these clubs which have won the league in recent years have proven that a defensive style is very difficult. It is very difficult to win the league with a defensive style of football, or especially with a style like Emery's. It becomes even tougher. With an attacking style, you can possibly try to
How can you
win with
say that? But
City.
how can you say Emery's got a defensive style football when most of the time he was very weak defensively and we were more worried about going forward and attacking? And to be honest as well, is that Arteta might want to play an attacking style of football, and that's fair enough. But like, one is I don't mind how you play and what style you want to play. If it works and we win games, that's fine, right? It doesn't really matter. What matters is what's happening on the top left corner of your screen in terms of the scoreline. But the attacking-minded football, we may see it like maybe against Slavia Prague, or who I think were playing for a draw and really screwed it up. But you see it ones or times, maybe in the first half of the Wolves game, right, where we played really, really well, and you really couldn't fault Arteta for what happened during the game. I can't fault Arteta for that. That's down to the players and David Luiz and Leno in that. But yeah, you'd never see it. Like you don't. Even now, I'm thinking, okay, is there? Just can't see anything there. And a lot of some Arteta fans are now looking at it. What are you doing? What is there something that's going to get better? Is there something we can build on it? Because it doesn't seem like there is, and it doesn't seem like we're just static in 10th and not going anywhere. For like this example, like for an attacking style of football, we've gone forward, and many a times I've seen them. We could play. There's an opportunity to play the ball in a box or a pass that will cut the defence open. And yet we play sideways, we play backwards, we play sideways, we play. Every time we have a chance to put the ball in or cut the defence open, we don't take that risk. We don't do it. So it's like, if you're an attacking style manager, surely you'd be able to install that in the players by now. You've had over a year to do that, and we're still playing like he's only just taken over the club.
See the thing with respect to why you felt that Emery had a more attacking style of football is because he inherited Wenger's team. Yes, it did not have a strong defense, which was already known during the Wenger era as well. Wenger was not good at defending, but one thing he was good at having creative players in the squad. He was good at creating goals. He was good at pushing forward, and that is the exact squad that Emery got the season after Wenger left. Most of the players were the same, apart from maybe a Torreira, a Guendouzi. Most of the other players were same, and Leno. Yes, you can add Leno as well, who came in, but Peter Cech and Leno were interchanging at that point of time. Leno was also not settled in. So he inherited Wenger's team. Now, when you ask me why do I feel that Emery did not have a better squad than Arteta, had a better squad than Arteta, why I say that is he had a midfielder, a creative midfielder who could score goals when the strikers were not scoring goals. The same guy who was missing for the last 7 or 8 games and the Europa League final. And even though he may have not been great or an Arsenal legend, like most people will say he's not an Arsenal legend, Aaron Ramsey did a very important job, which was transition the ball from defense to midfield, create goals or score them. And another thing, a lot of people say when Emery was playing Lacazette and Aubameyang together, they do not mention the fact that there was a Ramsey behind them who was creating the chances. Now we have a young player like Smith Rowe and Odegaard. These two are very young. In the future, can they be better or can they be as good as Ramsey? They definitely can. But right now, Arteta is using young players because he doesn't have creativity. Ozil situation, Emery tried to bring in Ozil as a desperate move in the second season, backfired again. It did not work out. He was thrown out of the team again. Arteta tried Ozil, did not work out. Then eventually, whatever situation has happened, Arteta also dropped the idea. So the thing is, there have been a lot of problems. And another thing I have said, Thomas Partey, who is every Arsenal fan wanted Thomas Partey. Would you take Thomas Partey? You would say yes. Would I take Thomas Partey? I would say yes. He has not been able to play maybe say more than 3 or 4
So
games.
got to cut in. Just got to cut in. This.
Yeah,
It's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham Hotspur. It's happened again. Sorry, I had to.
They were never going to win it. They were never going to win it.
But carry on, mate. Carry on.
No, so I was saying that the thing is that Arteta has had the best midfielder that he got, the best midfielder, and possibly the signing of the transfer window. The guy is unfit and can't even play more than 4 or 5 continuous Premier League games without either picking up an injury or lack of match fitness, or he is not able to perform in the league yet. So this is another problem. With respect to Guendouzi, a young kid, when he came during the every time during the first year, he also had issues. But the thing is, he still was able to do a bit more, and his fitness was never a problem. The thing is now, Emery had Ramsey as a leader in that team. Aubameyang is not a leader. Lacazette has been in and out of the team. Some blame goes to Arteta as well. But Emery had a leader. He had Laurent Koscielny at the back as the defensive leader as well. David Luiz is our leader right now. I think Koscielny, everyone will agree, was a much better defender than him. And the thing is, even though Peter Cech was ending his career at Arsenal, Peter Cech is also a way bigger leader than Leno. Yes, he may not have had the edge that he had at Chelsea, but we had leaders in that team still. And Unai Emery has taken full advantage of it. I'm not denying that. We should have finished third. But at the end, if you are saying that Emery should have finished third and he's finished fifth, if you are saying Arteta should have finished in the top 6, but he's finishing 10th, at the end, I think the league position matters where you finish. It doesn't matter where you could have finished. If Arteta goes on and he wins the Europa League, you will have to give him credit. Yes, he has won an FA Cup. Emery could have won the Europa League. He would have never gotten sacked. But at the end of the day, this is Arsenal. We have our own problems. We are not Sevilla. And when we are not Sevilla, and Emery could have done it there, probably. He has an understanding with the players. But for Arsenal Football Club, again, I'm saying this. Overall experience-wise, Emery is you can say the more experienced manager. He has the more trophies as well. He has the more experience, knowledge. But with respect to Arsenal Football Club, Emery was no good because he's no good at big clubs. He always tends to lose the dressing room. The best example of it is PSG. Only in Spain he is getting that respect and he's able to keep hold of the dressing room. But at a global level, Unai Emery has no real respect to his name.
Well, I think said you should be a defensive lawyer. You'd be a good one. Well, anyway, I will just put some sort of statistics into this. So I'm sure everyone loves stats, right? But we'll just put a bit of statistics into this. The first 50 league games for Arteta and Emery. So Arteta's won 21 games, drawn 12, lost 17, scored 72 goals and conceded 56, 15 clean sheets, 75 points, 1.5 points per game, a win ratio of 42%, a loss of 34. Goals per game 1.44. Goals conceded per game 1.12. We then take a look at Emery's first 50 games. 25 wins, 13 draws, 12 losses. Goals for 91, goals against 68, 10 clean sheets. Points 88, 1.76 per game. Win rate of 50% and a loss rate of 24%. Right. Goals per game 1.82, goals conceded per game 1.3. And then if you really wanted to do it, Arsene Wenger, which I think is a bit out of order because like Wenger's first games is in a league that wasn't as dominant as it is now, and more competitive. But 27 wins, 7 draws, 16 losses, 96 goals, 64 against, 18 clean sheets, 88 points, 54% win ratio with 32% loss. But again, also is that the fact that he had a decent squad of players coming from George Graham and who was the guy in charge for Bruce Rioch. They had decent players already there. So yeah, but the thing I found with Emery is that now I'm not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to tactician and everything like that. I'm just gonna look up for a tweet.
You just missed one thing there. Wenger trophies infinite. We can't count them. Arteta trophies 1 plus shield. Unai Emery 0.
Don't add the shield. Don't add the shield.
I added it as a shield. I didn't call it a trophy. I called one trophy and one shield.
We're Arsenal Football Club. We're bigger than that. Come on.
No, I called it a shield. I didn't call it a trophy. I called it a shield.
Well, I just call it a glove. I like it because it's a charity friendly, so the money goes somewhere decent. So, but look, the thing I found with Emery is that when we were playing well under him, and the thing he said about like tactician and the things he always changed it and this, that, and the other. Yeah. Right. But what we found this season is that when he's changed, when Arteta started going on that run of losses after a loss after a loss after a loss, it didn't feel like he was like adjusting it to a particular team. The one thing you count with Emery and what made it so great is that no one quite knew how he was going to play against each team because he could change it up. I mean, half Tottenham, for example, we were 2-1 down after we should have been, but we were 2-1 down. But we were 2-1 down, and he changed it at half time. He wasn't afraid to if things weren't going right to change it at half time, mix it up, just be able to win games by making adaptations, by making tactical substitutions. It just feels that Arteta, if he does want to change it during a game, it's either once with 1-0 down or it's about the 75th minute, by which point we can't make any influence on the game. So it's Emery was sometimes proactive rather than reactive. All right, towards the end of his career, he probably wasn't doing that. But in the long run, it wasn't. In the end of his career, you probably say he wasn't doing that as much, and he was making some weird and wonderful decisions, which didn't help his cause at all. But for the majority of his career at Arsenal, and what I've seen as well when he was playing when he was managing Seville, is that you could have that adaptation, and you could have that adaptation to each team, so that way it left them guessing. Because at the moment, we just seem to be too predictable, and that was the problem under Wenger as well. Right, we were all moaning about Wenger, how he never changed it. Right, it was always difficult because it just didn't seem like we were playing it just didn't. It was just the same football all the time, and it just became so predictable for teams to be able to shut us down and not and stop our attacking threat. But I feel is that when we got Emery and he started doing that, everyone was over the moon by it because like we could be unpredictable. But right now, it seems to be too damn predictable for each team, which is why we always seem to be struggling to break teams down and be able to create the chances we need to score goals. And then also sort of defending, it seems to be too predictable that people know set pieces were struggling, foreigns were struggling, and that's the main problem. One of the main problems with them with Arteta at the minute. And if he does want to change it, it's always reacting to something, or once we're 1-0 down, or even 2-0 down. So for me, he needs to be more proactive. In my opinion, he needs to be a lot more proactive.
And I will just counter you by saying one thing. This is actually one point, which is one good point that you have raised, and it should be embarrassing for Unai Emery. I'll tell you why. Unai Emery he is a manager. He's an experienced manager. He's been a manager for so many years. But you need to understand one thing. A manager should not be changing his starting lineup, his starting tactics for every game. Rather, if you go a goal down after starting with your same starting lineup or your starting tactics, you should have enough dynamism in the squad and the team that is playing there, that you make a few changes and the team tactics and the strategy changes, which dynamism is present in Arteta's play, but in Unai Emery, the lack of it is the reason why he would change the tactics and the starting 11 for every game. If he had the capability of adapting to a tactic during the game, he would have changed the tactics after playing the same starting 11 and making that change if his team went down a goal or scored a goal. But what happened is, what he would do is, rather than doing that, he would change the starting 11 in such a way that the tactics would be completely different for each game, which not just confused the players themselves, but the fans as well. Now, if this was a team like Manchester City and we had players like big name players, not kids, not young kids, if we had some big players like I don't even call Raheem Sterling a big player, but yes, he can contribute as well a lot of times. If we had a Kevin De Bruyne, if we have a Sergio Aguero, if we have the likes of the defense, Ruben Diaz, all these guys at Man City, and Emery is doing this at Man City, these players are still way more experienced and adaptable to change in tactics. Maybe they will be able to survive week in and week out a change in the formation, the tactics, and the starting 11 because they do it under Pep. But
yeah, I will just say I don't talk many. Wanted to make sure you got this point. I'd love to India because I also have people that do my cannulas at the hospital. One of them, he's a Indian. He comes from India. Kala, I can't remember how it's called again, but I know things are very, very bad there right now. So yeah, I have thoughts and prayers go to everyone in that country at the minute because it's really bad. But yeah, you were saying, mate. Go on.
So I was saying the tactics are supposed to be dynamic and fluid, that they can be changed in the game, and the starting 11 and the tactics are not supposed to be changed at the start of every game. The formation for every game is not supposed to change along with the playing 11. Yes, one change or two changes at the most are acceptable because there are injuries or there are fitness concerns or there is certain slight change in the tactic that you want. You can't just change the entire tactic for each game and expect your players who are already inconsistent to start performing at the top level. Yes, a big club like maybe Man City can do it because they have the quality of players. We were still having a lot of young talents that were coming in. Saka, Guendouzi, even Ceballos wasn't really a fit. Like he also wasn't like a fit player who was like already set into the setup. He was also adapting. We had the likes of Torreira who had just come to the club. So we had a lot of more players that were coming in and already trying to settle into the system. And in the first season, Unai Emery did not make too many changes, but in the first year he did not do that. In the second year, for some reason, he totally lost his vision. He totally lost his understanding of the game, and he went haywire. He started making changes left, right, and center even before the game started. He was not working on the same game plan that he had in the first year. He was always changing the game plan according to the opposition, and that is what annoyed the fans, the players, and that is one of the reasons why he started getting trolled in the dressing room. With Arteta, he does not make major changes in the squad unless and until there is an injury or there is a major tactical change needed to defeat a team, but they will not be like the entire lineup will not change. He started off with the 3-4-3, which was just a temporary solution till he got his Thomas Partey, till he got, after that, he got his other ESR, he got Odegaard. He is only doing this because he needs those players to be there. Once he has those players, he does not need to keep changing the tactics week in and week out. He will change if anything is needed in the game. And your complaint about the substitutes part, one last sentence on that. You don't always need to just make substitutions to make an impact.
Great.
There can be a
Oh my
tactical
God.
and a formational change that can also make that impact. If you change the style of play, if you're attacking from the wings, if you attack more from the center, that could create another chance. If you're attacking more from the center, you spread it to the wings, or you switch players from left to the right, like Pepe moves sometimes to the right wing, sometimes he plays on the left wing. So that can also make a difference. So Arteta does those things which are also a part of it. His man management is not good as Unai Emery, I will not deny that, but Unai Emery overdid everything, and that is why he lost the dressing room in the first place. He was clueless. Arteta is a bit better than him with respect to a lot of those things. Man management, Unai Emery is better, but there are various factors that people tend to ignore because they feel that Arteta is inexperienced.
Yeah. And I don't get. Anish, he's won 2 Champions Leagues, mate. Like, he's won the Liga with Real Madrid. I can't see how you'd say he wouldn't be much better. But if he didn't have enough dynamism, if he didn't have enough dynamism, was because the board didn't back him. Imagine. And Gabriel, what type in there? Type there. Yeah, if any Arsenal fan wants to come on, the link's in the chat. Arteta doesn't make so changes that we become predictable. That's which is why we are 9th. This isn't a debate 5th and 8th. There isn't a debate as to which one is better manager. I'm going to bring Saeed first, who's joined us. What's your opinion on mate? Saeed? Yeah? He's not there. Okay.
Okay, can I just quickly respond to the one comment that was there, that the fluidity or the dynamism wasn't there because am I lagging or who's lagging?
I'm lagging. This bloody computer. Yeah, are you there, Saeed?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to Nitish coming in, having a good debate with Steven. Respect to all of you out there. And big up to Talk Menu to always giving us the latest news of what's going on outside of the world.
Yeah.
So,
what do you want to say, mate?
Yeah, for me, personally, I don't think there's a valid debate to compare Emery versus Arteta. I just think that Emery as a manager is way superior to Arteta. That's my personal view. And I base that on, first of all, what Emery have achieved before he came to Arsenal. He's done very well in Spain. I think he did well with Paris as well. I know that he bottled it against Barcelona in that quarterfinal. I think it was the quarterfinal. And I know that one season he finished second. But I think also what a lot of people underestimate how good that Monaco team was, but just because it was Monaco. I think if you look at the players that they have, they had players like Kylian Mbappe, Falcao, Thomas Lemar, Fabinho,
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva, Mendy. I mean, the list goes
Now,
on. It was a sick team. They didn't finish. They didn't win the league because Paris was bad. They won the league because they were really good. And I think it's very hard to consistently win the league every year, even if you are superior to all the other teams. I mean, we can see it now with Juventus. We've seen it before with Bayern Munich. It happens. And I think just because they
even
finished
Man City
second
had that dip.
and they lost that quarterfinal, yeah, and even Man City, and just because they lost that quarterfinal and finished second, everybody wants to talk down Emery like he didn't achieve anything, forgetting that they did win a lot of trophies with him. They did win the league with him, and he did win 3 Europa League cups. And I think when he came to Arsenal, he started out quite well. I think the issue Emery had was he very fast identified the issues Arsenal had, and he wanted to improve that. Unfortunately, he wasn't backed by the board. He wasn't given the players that he needed to be given. And I think that is one of the things that the board learned with Arteta, that, if we go for the cheap options, like if you go for Torreira instead of a Fabinho, if you go for Murray instead of a Maguire,
Oh,
Yeah.
I think he's gone. But I see his point. If you're going, yeah, I can see his point. Yeah, is that Emery was first given the job. First of all, he was given 50 million quid to start off with. Right, the first summer transfer window Arteta got, he had a lot more to play with. And if you're going to get players like Torreira, then I can Guendouzi, because it's all you can afford. Right? And then also Dennis Suarez on loan, because the board's not going to give you any more than that. Right? Then of course, is that you're gonna, if you're not given, it's like any sort of builder. If the builder's not got his tools, he ain't gonna build a house, right? So he's not going to be able to succeed as well as people want him to. Even in the next summer, people got sacked, and yeah, in the end, his football was that bad. But he wanted Zaha, he got Pepe. He wanted I can't remember the defender he did want, but we ended up getting David Luiz. There was who else did he get in that summer? Oh yeah, Saliba he got, but he had to loan him back out, so he really didn't get him. But yeah, I'm gonna bring on a special guest as well to the stream, and that is Brandon. How are you, mate?
Not so bad, mate. How's everybody?
Yeah, how's the new home and how's the little one?
Yeah, doing well, mate. Doing good. Nice and settled in.
Just leave that for a minute. Yeah, great to have you back. On, mate. Yeah, what do you want to say, mate? Go for it. Floor's yours.
What are we discussing? Arteta, Emery.
Yeah, Arteta, Emery.
It's hard to choose between the two, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look at Unai Emery's record at Arsenal compared to Arteta's, you would say Emery was better. But I suppose we'll find out more on Thursday, So there isn't too much to discuss on that matter, I suppose. I mean, Emery's style of play at Arsenal, you'd probably say, is more exciting. He got the best out of our attacking players, i.e. your Aubameyangs, your Lacazettes, whereas Arteta, I don't really see a style of play under Arteta majority of the time. It looks like he's finally found a style of play. one week and then the following week we go and do something completely different, or it just doesn't seem to be able to get the best out of some of the players that we've got. I think that's let us down a lot this season. We've focused very much on improving as a defensive unit under Arteta. You can see that. And although we have slightly improved, it has started to fall apart over the last couple of weeks, you know, in terms of conceding goals against teams that we should be beating. And the only problem with Arteta is he's focused so much on improving us defensively, it's taken us away from the attacking side of our game. So rather than us, you know, losing by a couple of goals, you know, it's easy to lose 1-0 to the Evertons and the Burnleys and stuff like that, because we're not creating enough chances or taking our chances when we get them against these smaller sides, and there's always a defensive mistake within us. I don't know, mate. It's a tough one to call. It really is. It really is. I personally feel that neither of them are good enough for Arsenal. As you well know, I want Arteta gone, and I have done for a long time. I personally feel we could do better than him, but yeah.
Yeah, I make a very good point. I do feel that, like you said, it's difficult to choose. I mean, you saw the stats, the win ratio is not actually that different from each other. And we were just mentioning before about how Emery could sort of adapt to a situation or a different team each week. And yes, maybe towards the end of his career, that at Arsenal, that was being a hindrance on the players, because they didn't know what to play. But for like the first half of that season, first season, I mean, like we were 2-1 down against Tottenham, and he changed it up at half time. He wasn't afraid to be proactive. Whereas at the minute we see with Arteta, it's very reactive, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of trust with some players, though those players we know have done, like Martinelli, for example, that have done the business against big teams. It doesn't feel like he has any trust playing them in games like Sheffield United or maybe Fulham or something like that. He doesn't really feel like he could trust them in a Europa League game, which I find baffling. Especially when he's actually played him before against Chelsea or someone, and he's run down the other end of the pitch and scored a goal. Well, Lacazette did that against Slavia Prague and the Emirates and put it on the bar. So, yeah.
I kind of look at it like this, mate, right? Arteta, he's learned his trade under Guardiola. Guardiola and him, I suppose, in the end, will probably have a very similar style of play, to a degree. Obviously, Arteta's not going to be exactly the same as Guardiola, but to a degree, they will have a similar style of play and a way that they want to play football. I think the biggest problem with Arteta is he doesn't have the players. Now, it's all well and good you not having you coming out with the excuse of I don't have the players, but at Arsenal Football Club we know that, you know, we've got a set of owners that are not going to go out and spend 150, 200 million pound in the summer and rectify everything that's wrong with that football team. So, you know, Arteta probably needs about 5 or 6, maybe even 7 of his own first team players. I'm not talking about players that are going to come in and cover for, you know, the likes of Kieran Tierney or whatever. I'm talking about first team quality players. Now, the issue that we have with that is, in order for that to happen, it's going to have to be spaced out over a couple of years. It's going to be a couple of years worth of rebuilding, because we're not going to spend the money that's required to get it done in one summer. So what we need at Arsenal is we need a manager who can get the best out of the current players that we have, whilst also doing a rebuild job at the same time. And Arteta's just not doing that. You know, he's not getting the best out of your Aubameyangs. We're seeing the fact that his goal scoring stats have been poor this season, whereas his last season, the guy pretty much carried us. Lacazette is improved this season. Pepe, it seems to me like sometimes he'll get a game, he'll put in a great performance, and then the following week he's on the bench, and it doesn't make any sense. I think he's getting the best out of the two youngsters in Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe, but like I say, he's so fixated on making sure we defend well, which I personally feel we don't defend well at all, but we do defend better as a unit, as a team. But individual errors is what cost us this season. And when you're handing out contracts to the likes of Rob Holding, these type of players who we know are not good enough for Arsenal, you're just causing yourself more issues, really, because we know he's got a mistake in him. So why do we not get rid of him? And again, I'm going to point to this as well. Arteta's come in and he's been so fixated on getting rid of Emery players when really he should be getting rid of the Wenger players, the players that are let down manager after manager after manager. So I don't know. I think he's got a lot of learning to do. I think whether he stays at Arsenal or whether he doesn't, is going to be a massive learning curve for him. It goes to show that management it's not easy in football. It really is not at a high level.
Well, I'll tell you what, Aubameyang in this season was his stats. Last season he had 22 goals in the Premier League. I'm just going to show you. He had 22 goals in the Premier League. Add that to 3 goals in Europa League, which is which is what 9, 25, 20, 25 EFL. Yeah,
22 in the league and 6 in the Europa, so 28.
Yeah. So he's had 25. So he's had 25 goals last season. This season, he's had 9 goals in the Premier League. So he's not even double figures yet. And we're 25 games. He's had 25 games, and 3 goals in the Europa League. 12 goals. So by nearly double less this season, which for a player like Aubameyang, who's usually getting 20 in 5 seasons in a row, got over 20 goals, which not many, I think only 5 strikers have done. That's appalling. That is appalling. And for me, it's all right saying you've got a better defensive structure and you're better defensively, but that means absolutely jack shit if you don't score goals. Because in the end, you only draw 0-0.
See, that stat there, it's appalling by Aubameyang's standard, because we know that Aubameyang can score 20 plus goals per season. So by Aubameyang's standard, yeah, it's very poor. But when Aubameyang's not performing, you need somebody else to step up and perform. That's why football is a team game, because say, for example, at Manchester United, if, for example, Bruno Fernandes is not performing, 9 times out of 10, Paul Pogba will perform. Somebody else takes the mantle for the day. Somebody else, will be performing. Lacazette's kind of taken that a little bit, but Lacazette's proved since he's been at Arsenal that he's not really a goal scorer. He scores goals, but he doesn't score enough. That's the problem. So the biggest issue that we have is we don't score enough goals from midfield, and we haven't done for years. For years and years and years. I think the last person to hit double figures in terms of goals in our midfield was Aaron Ramsey. And before that, how long ago have we been...
Sanchez. If you're counting Sanchez as a midfielder, like wingers.
You could count Sanchez, I suppose, but he's kind of one of the front 3 in a way, wasn't he? So
He was even played as, I think, false 9 at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Under
I
Wenger.
mean, that's the biggest problem, mate, is we don't score enough goals from midfield. We don't have somebody else who can step up and take the mantelpiece from the likes of Aubameyang. So if Aubameyang has a poor season like he has done this season, it shows, you know. His goals were carrying us last season. He was carrying us massively. So that's also part of the issue as well, which, again, you can't really blame the manager for that. But what you can blame the manager for is his lack of tactics at times. Sometimes I look at the way he sets us up, and I look at, for example, if we're losing a game, he takes so long to change it. It's almost like he's quite clueless at times, and you kind of expect that in a way because it's his first job. He's learning on the job as well. But is that good enough for Arsenal Football Club? No, not really. You know, Arsenal Football Club, even when we're going through a transitional period where we're rebuilding and that, you still expect them to be qualifying for the Europa League at the very, very least. And it doesn't even look like we're going to do that this season unless we win the Europa League and get ourselves in the Champions League. But again, it's a very slim chance because we've got to beat Villareal, who are a good side, and they've got a good manager who knows what he's doing in this competition in particular. And then if we get past them, we've got to play either Roma or Manchester United. And I look at both of their teams, and you would probably argue that man for man, they're levels above us at the moment. So, but it's a one-off game. You never know what's going to happen.
This is what we thought in the FA Cup last season, in a one-off game.
Yeah, exactly. But if we don't win the Europa League this season, then we're not qualifying for Europe at all. Now,
well, we do. We'll get your Conference League though.
Possibly, but that's if we can pick up form in the Premier League. At the moment, it looks like players have just gone, "Oh, do you know what? Forget about Premier League. We're fixating on this Europa League." Well, as much as I want them to do that, it's also a dangerous game to play because if we don't win that Europa League and we don't finish in the top 10, which it could happen, then we're not getting European football. And, you know, I don't know, mate. The club's a mess at the moment. It really is.
And then they want us to try and go into a Super League last week.
Well, this is the thing, mate. You know, I said it before. This whole Super League thing, Stan Kroenke's shown his hand now. He's shown that he don't give a toss about the fans. He don't give a toss about the players or anybody else around him. He's going to do what he wants to do. And I look at it like this. Now, Arsenal have come out, Vinay in particular, and has said that we was kind of dragged into this Super League thing.
No,
we wasn't one of the main people going for it. Now, that's bullshit straight off.
Bullshit.
And I'll tell you why. Because Arsenal are, out of the top 6 teams, are in the worst predicament out of them all at the moment. We're lowest in the league. We're a team that needs a massive rebuild. We're a team that's basically a fallen giant. We haven't qualified for Champions League for about 4 or 5 years now. So Stan Kroenke's looking at it and he's thinking, I'm losing money left, right and centre. I don't really want to have to go down the long route of rebuilding this entire team. So how can I do it where I can still compete with the best, still earn a shed loads of money, but not have to worry about where we finish in the Premier League? And that is basically what the Super League was about. And I also think as well that this Super League, like many people have said, it's not something that they've arranged over like a fortnight. It's been going on for years.
They knew there'd be a backlash, so that's why they were saying like, "Oh, we've got this, we've got that, we've got this, we've got this plan." So,
but I'm also starting to question now as well as to whether that was part of their thought process in when they hired Mikel Arteta. Because look, if we're being real, Arsenal fans are being real. It doesn't matter whether you like Arteta and you're Arteta in, or whether you're Arteta out.
I would say that though, they were thinking about the Super League before even Arteta. They were thinking it under Wenger.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm thinking that maybe they had an inkling that it was going to happen around about this sort of time. So it doesn't matter if you Arteta in now or Arteta out. It doesn't matter. Yeah. At the time of Arsenal employing Mikel Arteta, I can pretty much say that 99% of Arsenal fans was like, well, hang on. You're talking about employing a guy who's got no experience, who's never managed before. He's going to have a backroom staff behind him of Edu and Vinay, who have also never done the job that they're doing before. This is a dodgy decision for a big club. You know, as a big club, we should be going for a proper manager and a proper backroom staff at least. So there were question marks before it even came in. But then you look across at Manchester United. Manchester United did the same thing. They employed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who, yes, has managerial experience, but at the top level, he's never managed a big club before. Yeah. Then you look at Chelsea. Chelsea went down the route of let's get Frank Lampard in. Again, has managerial experience, but not at the top level. Juventus, they did exactly the same thing. Let's get Pirlo in. No managerial experience. And the reason why I think these clubs did that is because they had the view that the Super League was going to happen in and around 2021, 22. And it doesn't matter if we get a manager in who's a complete rookie.
We're still in Europe.
It won't matter if we finish 15th, 16th in our domestic league, because we will still be competing against the best and earning the most amount of money. And what, at the end of the day, if you're a businessman, you're an owner of one of these football clubs, why are you going to pay a manager like, for example, a Jose Mourinho, £15 million a year, when you could pay an Arteta £4 million a year, and it doesn't matter anyway? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's probably the Super League has had a bit of an impact on their thought process of who they employ as managers as well. Now, obviously, Frank Lampard got sacked at Chelsea, and they've replaced him with Thomas Tuchel. But I think Chelsea had to do that because they've set themselves such a high standard as a football club.
Yeah.
You know, they're the most successful team in terms of like winning trophies over the last 15, 20 years. So they couldn't justify Lampard's staying in charge when this Super League thing, nobody really knew about it at the time. So they went down the road of Thomas Tuchel, and it's worked out for them. They seem to be, you know, they seem to be a completely different side since he's came in. So it goes to show that a manager does make a massive, massive difference at a football club. And I don't know, if we lose on Thursday and we go out of the Europa League, I know we've got two legs, but if we go out of the Europa League, it doesn't matter whether you're Arteta in, Arteta out, you have to start questioning overall as a season, is that good enough for Arsenal Football Club? And my answer is no.
No. Say you were in the middle of a point before you cut out. So yeah, just anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think I agree with Brandon. I think I even go further. I still think that regardless if he wins the Europa League, I still don't think it's good enough. I think we finished 8th the first season. This season we're probably going to finish between 9th and 11th. Just
before you carry on your point, King, yeah. Sorry to jump in, mate, but I just want to ask you this question, right?
Yeah.
If Arteta wins the Europa League, for example, could you sack him after that? I mean, because I look at it like this. I don't think the guy is good enough either. I think he's, not a great manager at all. But if you look at over the past 2 seasons, if he's won the FA Cup and the Europa League in that short time of him being here, could you then turn around and sack him? Or could you say, okay, look, mate, I'm going to give you another season just to prove your worth? I personally don't feel like you're good enough, but I'm not sure you can sack a manager when he's won 2 trophies, whether he's good enough or not.
I think, to get to your point, I think that depending on what you want as a club, because if we win the Europa League, that means that we will be in the Champions League. What do we want to do in the Champions League? Do we want to be there and get out of the group stage, or do we want to go there and maybe try and reach a quarterfinal, semi-final? It depends on what we want as a club. Because if we want to go far in the Champions League, we need better players and we need a better manager. If we are just happy to be there, then surely you can give him a chance. Even though I think that giving him a chance will just ruin a summer transfer for a new manager, and it could fire us back. I'm looking at it as a long-term thing. I do know that, yeah, he won the FA Cup, and then it means that he will win the Europa League. But we've seen managers come in, win trophies, and then in long term, we've seen that they're not good enough. Because I think what you do in the league, it tells you the whole truth, because you play so many games in the league. What you do in cup competitions, it can be down to luck. It can be down to whoever you are facing. It could be down to, are you playing in a route where it's easier? Are you playing against teams that are playing in the Champions League? It's not always winning a cup doesn't always tell the whole truth. Even though I think it was a great. I'm not taking anywhere away from Arteta. Winning the FA Cup was a great achievement. I was impressed that we managed to win it. I was impressed that we managed to beat Man City and Chelsea. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna stand and say that wasn't a good achievement. But if I look at what we did in the Europa League last season, if I look at what we did in the league last season, if I look what we have done in the league this season, in the FA Cup, even in the Europa League, has it been good enough? No, he hasn't. He hasn't. And I also think that if you look at the players that we have, are they good enough to win Europa League? Of course they are. Have they been consistent enough? Of course they haven't. And for me, that's the problem. We will never be a Man City where we go and splash 200-300 million. So we need a manager who can set the style of play to make us better as a team. Our team and our players, we need a manager who can improve the team, improve the style of play, and make us better. And that's where my issue is with Arteta. I don't see him improving players. We're not getting better.
Yeah. Beyond the post. Sorry. Your response to that, obviously, still thinking you're backing Arteta still. Yeah, your response to what Brandon about to say.
Yeah, the first problem is that if Arteta hadn't won that FA Cup in his first half season that he took over, the fans' expectations wouldn't be hitting off the roof. People expected, because he's won the FA Cup in his first half season, next season he will get us a top 4 position. He'll probably not get us top 4, he may get us top 6. You need to understand, just because the guy comes in, he does well for a few weeks and he wins an FA Cup title, doesn't mean that he's going to go upwards in the league next season. If Unai Emery wasn't sacked, the first season that he played, that he was managing Arsenal, we finished 5th. The next season when he was sacked, we were 14th in the league. So that you need to understand that just because one manager comes in his first season, because of whatever reason, because I feel he inherited Wenger's squad, and a lot of players that Wenger already had in this squad were better than what we have right now, because they were set into a system. They were playing kind of football that they should have played better under Wenger, but Wenger was not tactically at that point of time anywhere in his best zone. So that team could have gotten more, and that is what they did with Emery. They came from 6th, where they finished under Wenger, they went to 5th. But what happened one season later, when the board decided to let go of Aaron Ramsey, who was a creative midfielder, like Brandon added, he was one of the main guys who was giving us goals and assists from midfield, everything changed. From 5th, he went to 14th. So just because Arteta in his first half season has won the FA Cup doesn't mean that from the league position that we finished 8th, we are straight away going to jump to 4th, or we are going to jump into the top 4, into the top 6. It can also go the other way, which has happened. And one of the key reasons is our final third play in the final third has not been as clinical as it was in the last 2 seasons. Aubameyang is one of the main reasons. Without his goals, even in the last 2 seasons, we would have finished. Even Arsenal fans have said this. Without Aubameyang's goals in the last 2 seasons, we would have been probably in the bottom half of the table. With Aubameyang's 22 odd goals in each season, we have been able to push ourselves towards the top 4 into the top 6. Even last season, we did not finish in the Europa League qualifying position, but because of the FA Cup win, we went into Europe. Now, if this season, if Arteta is managing to win his second title, if you're not counting the Community Shield as a shield, the second title in his second season, no damn Arsenal fan should step up and say that this guy has not given us 2 trophies in 2 seasons. Even if you feel that he's not good enough, he has achieved more than what Unai Emery did, what Wenger could do in his last season as well. Because even Wenger went to the semi-final of the FA Cup of the Europa League with a very good squad, I feel, in comparison to what we have right now, because they were settled in. But he still, the loss to Atletico Madrid should have never happened. We should have won that game and gone to the final. But unfortunately, Wenger could not deliver. Emery went to the final in Baku. He could not deliver. If Arteta delivers the European trophy, our first European trophy, it will be since the Premier League era. Because we haven't won a Champions League, we'll be winning a Europa League. Yes, I understand it's a Europa League. That pushes us back into the Champions League again. I think credit needs to be given to the manager. He will get another additional 25 to 30 million because of the Europa League win, and he has every right to spend that money at least for one window, even if it is 3 or 4 players. And we need to see what he does in his second season, full season. And you need to remember one last thing: even if I'm Arteta in, I know that his contract expires after 2 more years, and we can always not extend. If he does not deliver and he is giving us 2 trophies, which Pochettino could not give Spurs in around 4 to 5 years, which Mourinho I don't think will be winning anytime soon with the way that his tactics are currently playing. With the likes of some of Lampard was competing against us. He finished in the top 4 in the first season. Look what happened to him in the second season. So this thought that just because your manager has given you something in the first, the next season will be an upward curve and it can't go down is a very wrong assumption which the fans have. The curve can go up and down. At the end of it all, you need to see what has the manager left the club with. When he's getting sacked or when he's leaving, has he given us titles? Has he given us a respectable squad? Has he given us a type of play, a playing style that can be taken on by the next manager? It would make zero sense if today Arteta leaves with an attack-minded sense and tomorrow an Allegri comes in with a defensive style, because these players are already in an attack-mindedness, and if they have to suddenly change from attack to defensive style of football, they would not be able to adapt to a defensive manager.
I would just say,
can I just quickly?
Hang on, because I've got all 3 of you want to jump in. I'll quickly just say what I've got to say. My point being, I expected what, 5th Europa League. I mean, most Arsenal fans weren't expecting us to go actually win the league or challenge, like, let's say hopefully challenge, but like not like go actually mad about it and be unrealistic. Right? I would definitely say he had a better squad this year than he had last year. So we were expecting some sort of improvement from last year. If you've got a better squad this season, you should be able to do better this season. And the fact that we were struggling in 16th, we're struggling to be in the top half of the table. We're out of the FA Cup. We're out of the League Cup. Europa League's all we've got. With any sort of progress, there has to be some sort of progress to see, like, if this is working, and there isn't. I can't see anything. You just can't see anything, not even now. And it's been a year and a half. Brandon, go on, and then I'll get to say, yeah.
Yeah, no. What I would say to that on the post is, it doesn't matter if Arteta won the FA Cup or not in this first season. My expectations isn't built on what the manager has won. My expectations is built on what Arsenal Football Club's expectations should be. So what I'm trying to get at is, if Arteta, for example, hadn't won the FA Cup in his first season, I would still expect him to finish in the top 4 this season. If it wasn't Mikel Arteta and it was Allegri or it was Jose Mourinho or any manager you want to name, I would still expect them to finish in the top 4, because that is what I personally feel should be the expectations at Arsenal Football Club. Now, I have already said, and I don't know whether you guys know this, but I have already said personally that although I am Arteta out at the moment, if he wins the Europa League and you add that to the FA Cup success as well, I will become a bit more of a neutral. So I won't be Arteta out, but I won't be Arteta in. But I will turn around and say, look, he's won an FA Cup, he's won a Europa League in the space of a season and a half that he's been here. You can't sack a manager based off the fact that he's won 2 trophies, with a poor squad, as we would all say. So I would be willing to give him another season to prove his worth at Arsenal Football Club. I will still get on at him if he makes bad decisions. I will still sit there and question as to whether he's good enough or not. But I think the fact that he's won 2 trophies, you have to give him that. It buys him a bit of extra time. It warrants him that little bit of extra time, and I'd be willing to give him that little bit of extra time. But he would have one, maybe not even a full season. He'd have as much time as I could give him to prove his worth. And if he wins the 2 trophies, then I will say, okay, fair enough. I'm no longer Arteta out. I'm a neutral. I'm not Arteta out, but I'm not Arteta in. But I am willing to give him one more season to prove whether he is good enough for Arsenal Football Club or not. If he doesn't win the Europa League, then I'm gonna weigh up the whole season this season. And I'm basically going to sit there and say, look, it's not good enough for Arsenal's, for a club the size of Arsenal Football Club. And you can't sack 25 players, so the manager has to go.
Yeah. Say go. What did you want to say to that?
Yeah, I just want to say that, obviously, to my opinion, this squad is much better than the squad Unai Emery had. I wouldn't want players like Lichtsteiner, Koscielny, Danny Welbeck, Alexei Vorby, Henrik Mkhitaryan. I wouldn't want them to be in this Arsenal team. If you ask me if we could have this 25 squad versus Emery's 25 squad, which would I want? I would definitely take this one 100 times out of 100. I think we also have to look at the key players in those squad. Like Aaron Ramsey was still injured a lot. He missed the most important part of the season, and maybe it's one of the reasons why we didn't finish third in the league. I don't think if he played in the final that we would necessarily win, but you can argue that we would have had a better chance. I think you have to look at someone like Laurent Koscielny. He was very injury prone. He wasn't fully match fit in the last season, and it's also one of the reasons why he left, because he felt like he was overplayed. And it was because the other players were Socrates and Shkodran Mustafi. And no Arsenal fan wants those players back. We just have to be honest. Even players like Kolasinac, they had a big part in those games, and they weren't good enough. Mesut Ozil was just collecting fees. He wasn't playing. He was in out. And Emery was the first one who tried to get rid of it. So for me, squad-wise, I do think our squad is better. I do hear the argument that if he wins the Europa League, he deserves to stay there. I wouldn't be mad at the board if they didn't sack him if he wins the Europa League, obviously. I think even though I would look at it differently and want a better manager to even kick on further, I can still see that, okay, it's fair enough to keep him because he's just won 2 trophies. But what I would say is I judge a manager more to how we play as a team, how many points we collect in the league when you just arrive. I don't think in your first 2-3 years, you necessarily need to win a trophy. I do think we need to see a style of play, and we need to see a manager collecting at least 70 points in the league. And we need to see where we are heading as a club. I think if we would have finished, let's say, 8th last season as we did, and this season we finished 5th, but we are on 70 points, we are playing better, then
I wouldn't have a problem even if we didn't win the Europa League, because I can see, okay, there's an improvement. We are kicking on from the win of the FA Cup. We are collecting more points. We are playing better football. We can see an improvement on the field. My issue is that we are losing too many games. We are too inconsistent. We don't know our first 11. He doesn't know his first 11. Sometimes Chamber is the flavor of the month. Sometimes Holding is the flavor of the month. Sometimes it's Marie. Sometimes Gabriel. Sometimes Bellerin, Cedric. I mean, you can go on, and it's not healthy for him. It's not healthy for the players. How are we going to set the style of play if you don't have at least 8-9 players who are playing most of the games in the league? I mean, you can see in any of the top teams that are above us, you could probably pick out 8-9 players that will play every week. At Arsenal Football Club, you can't. You just can't. And I think,
yeah. No, so go on, finish your point. Go.
Yeah, and I think that's also why we sometimes feel that we are unlucky. But it's like these players are not 100% match fit. I mean, some of the chances you see Pepe miss, maybe if he was on a consistent run of games, he would have scored. Some of the chances we see Lacazette miss, maybe if he was given more opportunities, he would be more consistent. And I think sometimes as the manager, you have to swallow your pride and see, maybe I got it wrong. I mean, William was given way too many chances, even though it was clear that he wasn't up for it. Why was he given so many chances? When Aubameyang wasn't working on the left, why didn't we change it? We have to understand, Aubameyang is soon 32 years old. His body cannot handle running up and down on the left wing, week in, week out. I mean, how many games have Aubameyang played in the Premier League since he joined us? It's a lot of games.
Sam, nice to see you. Obviously from the Blind Gooner channel, nice to see you, mate. Just showed that sacking ain't new and yet a proper manager worked. Why do we excuse having? Yeah, I mean we're the third biggest club in the country, and yet we excuse lacking having less ambition than Chelsea do, and we should be bigger than them. So we all say that we are, and the fact is we don't act like it. Winning the EU and another one, winning the EU Europa League is a trophy and a ticket to Champions League. That is great, but when you look at it, how many good teams did we play, or will we play to get to the final? I would expect us to get to our final with the teams played. Yeah, I mean, when you play Benfica, who aren't the same Benfica they were, you play Slavia Prague, who, yeah, they're just a bunch of racists, to be honest, but and they shit themselves. And then you've got
Olympiacos
as well. I mean, yeah, those teams we used to slap up in the Champions League for fun. And now like the Benfica game, we were 20 minutes away from getting knocked out. Right? So and people were saying it was a great achievement. What a great night. Was it a great night? Like, a great night is going to the San Siro and beating Inter Milan 5-1, or going to beat AC Milan 3-0, or beating Barcelona at the Emirates 2-1. That's a great Champions League night. Not struggling to beat Benfica in a Europa League round of 16, right? And being 20 minutes away from getting knocked out completely. It's the standards are so low, and not so much the standards, not so much the expectations, because I think some expectations are just realistic. So no Arsenal are poor at the minute, but the standards that they want from their club, when we've seen what we've been able to achieve in the history, is so low. It's so low. I mean, like, one guy came in this chat one time and he was like, "Oh, but we must be positive. We're in the top half." I'm like, really? Are you an Arsenal supporter? Honestly, you're happy with that? And it beggars belief. And the problem is when UEFA create more competitions like the Conference League, right? It then just says that, oh yeah, but we're in Europe. it makes no sense. But I mean, it's been a great debate, right? And I've had it's been a pleasure having you all on. So, but Villareal versus Arsenal, since we're here. A, who do you still think after this debate is the better manager? And B, Villareal versus Arsenal. Do you see Arsenal having any chance of beating them and getting to the final? We'll start with Nitish.
Yeah, I said it that Arsenal can win the Europa League this season. And with respect to Arteta and Unai Emery, I still feel that Arteta has the attacking and the positive style of football. Unai Emery could only play pragmatic football, and that is his problem. He tried to change his style, tactics, and formation before the start of every game, according to the opposition. Even though I was backing him all the way, I did not want him to get sacked until the end of the season, because you need to see whether a manager can actually do something. And in those 3 or 4 months, if he could do something, he could have probably stayed. If he couldn't do anything, because we were still in the Europa League at that point as well. Overall, as I said, again, Unai Emery has some plus points with respect to man management, but with respect to the tactics and the setup that he did in the second season, especially not in the first. He was fine in the first. He lost his marbles in the second. Those things Arteta is way better at, because the fluidity of the team and the dynamism is in the team, where the tactics are changed or the style is changed while the game is going on, which is how it should be with a proper manager. It shouldn't be that you have to change your formation, your entire playing 11 before the game even starts. That means that is why I said Unai Emery, people say, is an experienced manager. He has won so many titles. But if a manager starts doing that, it barely shows me that there is some problem with his managerial education.
Okay. Brandon, same question to you, mate.
I'd say this, right? I'd say there's pros and cons for both. I don't think either of them are good enough managers for this football club. I think Unai Emery's a decent manager, but not top level. I'd even go as far as saying that, you know, with a few more years' experience behind him, Arteta would be a decent manager, but is he top level manager for a football club? I don't think he is. So in terms of which manager's better, I suppose we'll find out on Thursday. I mean, you've got to take into account that Villareal have got an aging squad, still a very good squad, very experienced squad. Unai Emery knows what he's doing in terms of winning this competition and getting far in this competition. And we've got a very poor squad and a manager who's, you would argue, is very, very similar in a way. In terms of will we win the Europa League, I'm not so sure. I mean, at the end of the day, if we can get past Villareal, which will be a very, very tough task, I think people are writing them off a bit too soon. I think, you know, Villareal are a very, very good side, very experienced side. It just depends what Arsenal turns up. But if we can get past Villareal over 2 legs and we make it to the final, it's a one-off game in the final, you know, and one-off games, anything can happen. We've already taken 4 points off Manchester United this season, so I'd be confident if it was Man United in the final. And Roma as well, they're a good side, but they're beatable. So in terms of can we win the Europa League, I don't know, mate. I mean, we'll find out more on Thursday. And if we turn up like we did in the first leg against Slavia Prague, we'll be out. It's as simple as that. So it depends on what Arsenal turns up. It depends on whether Arteta can get his team lineup and his tactics and all that lot right as well. So there's a lot riding on this, you know, and we've got to win the Europa League. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I know you just said you got to go sort the kids up, so you're going to just set out your channel for us?
Yes, Brandon AFC TV, lots of Arsenal content on there. I've done a few videos with Tom from Lee Gunner's channel, I've done a couple of videos with League Gunner and Turkish and things like that as well. So make sure you go over there, check it out, and yeah, I'll see you there.
Wicked. I'd love to, trying to get back in contact with Turkish and League Art since they've done the fundraiser for us and see if they can come back on my channel to help out again. So I'm thinking about another fundraiser, like a quiz or something like that. But yeah, you're doing brilliant stuff there, mate. Right, and yeah, if you're free anytime next week, we've got loads of shows. Right, just send us a message and we'll get you on the show, and we'd love to work with you a little bit more, definitely.
Of course, mate. Yeah, just drop us a link. And, yeah, excellent. Thank you for having us on, mate. Cheers.
No worries. Take care. Yeah. Cheers. Same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I were to rank both managers on a scale 1 to 10, and where 10 is your Pep Guardiola's, your Ancelotti, or Jurgen Klopp, I would say Emery is probably a 6, closer to a 7 than he is closer to a 5. And I would say Arteta right now is probably a 3 with potential to, he could in the future become a 7, but I don't think he will become as good as people think he will become as a manager. I don't see that he has in him to be the next Klopp or to be the next Guardiola, but you never know. It's too easy to say. He's just begun his managerial career. I do think both of them haven't done enough when they were managing Arsenal. And regarding the game, I have to say I am more worried about the 2 games against Villareal than I am against a final against any opposition that is left. And that doesn't mean that I think that Villareal is better than a Man United or a Roma. I just think that a final is very open. You never know what's going to happen. But when you play 2 legs against a manager with experience and confidence as Unai Emery would be, and the fact that we are so unpredictable, when we turn up, we do turn up, but too many times we don't turn up. And we don't know what Arsenal we will see in these 2 legs. I mean, one thing I can say is that when we play with a lot of energy, we beat most of the oppositions that we play against. But when we play low energy, when we play slow football, we lose or we draw. And in a 2-leg, if they get a away goal in the first leg, it's going to be very hard. So I hope that we will win, but I will give us 60-40, I would say. It's a fair chance.
Relentless, sorry, mate, you had to jump in right at the end. I was going to ask the same question to you. Obviously, we've had the debate, and do you see who's the better manager, Emery or Arteta? And plus, do you feel that Arsenal have a chance of getting past Villareal? Relentless? Hello? Right, okay. I feel with Arsenal, I still feel Emery overall is a better manager. Right, Arteta could become a great manager in time. I just don't feel, like I said before, that it's at Arsenal at the minute. And I think if he goes out of Europa League, it definitely confirms that for me. It has to be confirmed that because he should be doing a lot better with that squad that he's got in a minute. I mean, that squad shouldn't have been struggling to get to a final. It should have been struggling to get to a final. It shouldn't have been 10. It should be 10th or at one point 16th in the league. And yeah, I feel that I sometimes the unpredictability of Emery, where his line up, his setup, could be a hindrance. But I think the first half of his career, the first season of his career, it was really beneficial for us because we weren't predictable as always under Wenger, which is what we wanted. But yeah, I still think Emery's a better manager. But I think with Villareal, he's got to get the team perfect to have any chance. And he's got to make sure he gets maybe an away goal for this game. He's got in the first leg. If we come away from the first leg at 0-0 or something like that, then God help us. I just feel that Emery being a specialist in the Europa League, I just don't feel that we'll find a way past it. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, we have come to the end, people, as usual. We have come to the end. Thanks ever so much. Say Brandon, AFC TV, beyond the posts and the Tish. Thanks for coming on, and also relentlessly only there about 5 seconds. But thanks for coming on, and there you go. That's a good, honest debate on the topic ahead of the Europa League. Will Arsenal get past Emery? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But obviously, you can see that here on SFeatleyTV. Right, we'll have our preview, we'll have our watch along, and our match reaction. But tomorrow we've got Premier League journey. Hopefully, you can join us for that. That'd be great. Then West View. Then tomorrow, Liver Awareness Show at 6 p.m. and we're talking about cancer. So if anyone has any stories about like a relative suffering with cancer or having cancer yourself, and you want to share your story, by all means do. I've had my dad pass away from cancer, so I really want, we would love for you to come and have your say. You don't have to, right? But it'd be great if you could. And other than that, it's just keep up for the shows. As I said, we're about 20 odd streams planned for this week, so we got a lot of content coming for you guys this week. So make sure to tune in and check it all out. F1 content, build up to the Portimao Grand Prix. Right. Don't forget tonight I'll be on Sarcasm City TV with their sports Q&A. So make sure you rush out for that. But until then, everyone stay safe, stay well, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.